Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here too. I'm here too.
Right.
Joining me as always from the planet Retard, Xavier Guerrero. And on the ones and twos, the gnome is the love him, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard.
Feels like we've been here before.
Have we done this before? Guys, real quick, before we get in it, go to SamTripoli.com. Got my dates. All my dates are there. Pottstown, Vegas, Morris Plains, Austin, Dallas, and Batavia. All there. New t-shirts, Jackson 5 and the King of Truth. All there. Great way to support the show. Go through SamTripoli.com for all of your needs. We're going to get into it. Our next guest is a researcher, a lawyer, an author, I believe a podcaster as well. We're going to get into being a nationalist versus, I don't know what the opposite is, but we'll get into it. Please welcome Brandon Joe William. How are you, brother?
Woo, what's up, man? Long time in the making. Good to see you again, man. It's been a while.
Williams. I said William. It's Williams. Hey, how are you, Brandon Joe? Glad to have you on.
Good, man.
You were on my Rockfin show. You crushed it. We decided to have you back on the big show. Because listen, man, you want to get into taxes? I'm like, what are we paying taxes on everything 1,000 billion times? It's at what point do we all snap and go, this is enough? You're taking too much.
The answer is now.
I'm with you.
The answer should have been a long time ago, but the answer is now. The answer is now.
All right. I'm going to call you BJ. BJ, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so I research the law and I transform all of it into, everybody thinks you can't read it or you need a fucking law degree to read it, which is ridiculous. And I make it fun and I make a big joke out of it and I try to piece it together in a very engaging way. And apparently it's pretty successful. People like it. So and a lot of it has to do with all sorts of different areas, which on this show today we'll probably just get into citizenship, nationality, and then we'll probably touch into taxation a bit after that because once you get into those subjects, taxation is really simple. And you can find me at onestupidfuck.com. That's my website.
I find that awesome that you were able to get the fuck in your domain. I can't believe they allowed that to happen.
I have a better one for you. I have a secondary domain that I use, like literally just for girls when they're hitting me up. It's myfaceisachair.com. So I have both domains.
Respect. I love that.
Sam's like, damn it. How did I not get that?
No, I love that. How does that go over with the ladies? Are they cool with that?
They fucking love it. It's the best pickup line. It's like, that's not really your website, is it? I'm like, hey.
Myfaceisachair.com.
Myfaceisachair.com.
Oh, I love that.
Fucking the best, right?
Well, where does your journey begin? How do you get into this? What was your kick it off point? Where you're like, okay, so this has pissed me off because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't have enough time today to do what I want to do, but if I could, I would love to study law. I really would love to study law. I just want to, listen, I have a cousin who's a cop. I think we're in a giant demoralization campaign with the police as well. There are a lot of bootlickers going on that they're doing the work of their masters, they're brown shirting it. But there are a lot of cops who love America, love being a citizen of this country, and are just watching shit going on, going, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
And they hate it.
Yes.
So I don't like to go after all the cops. And I've said this about any group. I don't care who you are. Pick whatever group you want. Don't judge the group. Judge the individual.
Yes.
And that's what I think about cops as well as any other group. So where does your journey begin?
So first and foremost, yes, 1,000,000% yes. I couldn't agree with you more. Literally, I've had a million run-ins with police. I have police that follow me. I have cops that literally message me. I have cops that are like, I hate the fact that this movement hates me. I hate the fact that this movement hates what I've done. I didn't know. I have guys reach out to me from the military. I was in the military for 40 years. I was a general. I didn't know. I was sold the same bullshit bill of goods that everybody else got.
Yeah.
And now here I am feeling like shit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, like, that's not going to do anybody any good. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't, you know, we're dealing with brainwashing on such a high skill level that for me, the most freeing moment was when I finally was able to just step back and smile and be like, God damn, these fucking guys are good at this. God damn. Yeah. I mean, you are like, this is like, there's a small handful of people in the world that got together that created this thing, and you get to a certain point when you're going down and you're studying it and you realize these fucking psycho fucks are absolutely fucking brilliant, bro. I mean, these people are like in all the cartoons growing up, the brilliant psychopaths. You know, that's what we grew up to. That's what it is. That's literally what it is, right?
No, I agree with that. And the truth is that they keep using the same playbook over and over again. Yeah. And, you know, we just had Greg Reese on. He's from InfoWars. He's a great, reporter. He makes these amazing YouTube videos. He's at the place where if they want to lock us down again, they're going to lock us down again. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying it could happen. But I do believe there becomes time where people, the population wises up and understands it, and they got to kind of keep changing the game just a little bit so it's introduced as a new thing. Now, okay, Sam, if they're learning, how come they didn't learn from the Iraq War and what we're doing in the Ukraine, right? You're like, well, I think the Ukraine is being done without the population's consent. Not 100%. Not that there isn't people out there.
A lot of Ukraine flags around LA right now.
But look where you are, though. And I would tell you there's way less of that than you think. You guys are maybe too young and maybe didn't live in LA during the Iraq lead up to the Iraq War. I mean, everybody was like, fuck those motherfuckers.
That's because it was Bush doing it.
Well, okay, well, if we voted, let's say we voted, would you say the American people would rather give it to Maui or give it to Ukraine?
I think they'd rather give it to Maui.
It comes down to trust.
Then that should prove that they don't give a fuck about where our money goes.
What?
That should prove that they don't give a fuck where our money goes if we would want our money to go to Maui, but instead they give it to Ukraine.
Yeah.
It comes down to trust, though. Like back in the Iraqi war, most people trust. I mean, you don't have things like tinfoil hat even like 10, 20 years ago. You had InfoWars. I mean, you didn't have a whole lot else. You had the Free Thought Project. I mean, think about it. Like, these were small time. I mean, fucking what's his name? The guy with the English guy with the arthritis in his hands.
David Icke.
David Icke. I mean, goddamn, he started in 1986 banging the drum, and he was a piece of shit by all standards up until COVID, and now he's got Iconic, which is his own entire fucking giant Brian Rose style fucking platform. I mean. Now these kinds of shows are getting to be almost like, if this keeps going in a couple of years, tinfoil hat's going to be like the new fucking Fox News.
Please, do we want that? Or do we, someone's asking me the other day what kind of fame I want, and I decide I want Duncan Trussell fame.
That's good.
That's the best fame. That's like, you go anywhere, you sell 300 tickets, and you just
people love Duncan. The people that like him love him.
Yeah. But he's big, but he's not big enough that he can't go anywhere and do anything.
Like you've noticed. I think Eddie Bravo's like the perfect. He just noticed by the people that do jujitsu. Yeah. When they see them,
those
they
are the fame
see
you
God.
want.
Yeah,
anything bigger than that, you are literally putting your head on a chopping board.
Especially in the genre you dabble
in. It depends on how you do it. And I can actually, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is going to cover a lot of that and how you can. People ask me all the time, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of this? For the first little while I was. Honestly, I was. Now I'm not. Because there's so much stuff that you can learn that you can actually use that these people that are behind the curtain, these people, what's so amazing to me every day, it amazes me, is that this is like these things that I'm studying, that I'm talking about, that I'm teaching in these courses on this website and everything. This is their Bible, man. This is like biblical. There's no room for people say like, oh, case law is the interpretation of law. They let people interpret the law to pretend as though people are allowed to interpret the law, to keep people talking about the interpretations. There is no interpretation of the law. And I'm probably the only person in the world that's going to say that. And the reason why I say that is because the definitions of the words in every single part of law, whoever wrote this stuff, I'm telling you, it's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like 4 or 5, or maybe like probably like 4 or 5 people behind the scenes, totally in the shadows, wrote every single law. At this point in my research, I'm pretty sure that's the deal, because every word, every definition, every comma, every period, they'll move you towards a certain reality in certain areas, and then they'll kind of blur out and they'll vague out other areas. It's all writing, it's all design, it's so brilliant. It's like an emotional warfare on paper. And when you read it, you're like, there's no fucking way, when you read enough of it, there's no fucking way that more than 4 or 5 people wrote all this. There's just no way. It's like the cadence and the phonics and the grammar and the syntax and the even certain words are capitalized in a certain way, and then they're lowercase in other areas, and they don't really tell you why, and then you have to go and dig and search. It's like a mind fuck, like you wouldn't believe, man. It's like completely insane, and it all fits together perfectly, bro. It all fits together perfectly.
But let me ask you something.
If it doesn't, you just have to wait. I know this is going to fit in perfectly somewhere, because I just know through my research at this point it's going to fit somewhere, and I just park it on the side. Sure enough, 6 months later, grab that son of a bitch. It plugs right into somewhere else, bro. I'm telling you, it's the whole thing is a puzzle, and every single puzzle piece is perfectly handcrafted to fit in somewhere. I'm telling you.
I get it. I'm not saying you're not saying my biggest problem right now, not with what you're saying, but with the legal, the whole court system right now, is that we have activist judges who are giving their own interpretation to the law, to the point where like Schrover from InfoWars is now doing 60 days for his podcast. And to me, that is dangerous precedence. Now, will that get thrown out? I believe so. But all they have to do is set one precedence and things start to change. And are you at all worried about that? I mean, not even 1 fraction of 1% of my essence is worried about that. And the reason why is because that's all just interpretations. All case law is all interpretations. When you realize, like, for example, I don't want to get off on a huge side. We love these side projects.
Okay, well then I'll do a little bit of this, but we could go off for 2 hours easily on this. So when you receive a bill in the mail, okay, from your credit card company, what people don't realize is that every single time you use your credit card, what happens is they have a signature on file, okay, and the definition of the word written includes electronic anything, right? And that comes from the E-Sign Act of 2000 or something. I forget. It's all, I have to go and look it all up. Right. So the basically, when you look at a Federal Reserve note, which is the money in your pocket, right? Federal Reserve note. When you look at the definition of the word note from the Bill of Exchange Act from 1882, this is all old as fuck, by the way. Sesta Act, which is an act that we all still operate in law, comes from 1666. You can actually still look it up. You can look up the original text. It reads like Shakespeare. It's like fucked. The Bill of Exchange Act comes from 1882. The Bill of Exchange Act is one of the most key areas in terms of all of the research for financials, right? This is not new. All this interpretation shit, it's all just a smokescreen. You have to go back, bro. You have to go back to what is like the spinal cord, what is the brain stem of what a lot of this shit operates off of. It has absolutely nothing to do with case law. Really, it doesn't. Even the Supreme Court. It does operate through the Supreme Court, obviously, But the Supreme Court is nothing more than a supreme interpretation of what's written, right? So the thing is that when you look at what's written and you actually read, let's say, even the Constitution or the Bill of Exchange Act, for example, when you get a bill in the mail, what's happening is that if you look at so the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 3 talks about everything about our entire money supply. Basically, if you want to learn everything about our entire money supply in a little nutshell, you go and you read UCC Article 3, the third section, the third chapter, however you want to say it, of the Uniform Commercial Code. Inside the Uniform Commercial Code, they say that a note, a promissory note, which is a Federal Reserve note or any other kind of note, has to have three things. It has to be written, it has to be a promise to pay, and it has to be signed. So what happens is that the Federal Reserve notes in your pocket are not money by definition. They're promissory notes. They're notes, which means promissory note. That's the definition of note, is a shortening of promissory note. Promissory note definition is written, promise to pay, that's signed. Okay. Every time you use your fucking credit card, what's happening is you're producing a promissory note. When you put the chip into the computer, what happens is that the chip is a digital signature chip. So you're signing and then you're promising to pay that of what you're trying to purchase through credit. And it's all written by definition because they added a definition of the word written in 2000 in the e-sign act or whatever it's called, right? So the thing is that what's happening is you're actually producing securities, and these securities have the same exact value as Federal Reserve notes in law. So what's happening at the end of the month when they give you that bill, so if you look at the Bill of Exchange Act of 1882, bill is a shortening for bill of exchange. So every bill that you've ever gotten in your entire life that's not the definition. That's not what it means. Bill means bill of exchange, and you can go and you can look up what that is. And basically what a bill of exchange is, when you get at the end of the month from your credit card company, it's no different than a Fidelity investment portfolio. So you get this piece of paper and it's got all these promissory notes on it, and it's got dates of all the promissory note transactions. Okay. Then what you do is you look up the definition of the word check, like a check, like this check right here. I got a bunch of checks on my table, like little checks that you can go and cash, right? The definition of the word check, when you look it up in a legal dictionary, it's just an order. And it customarily has certain parts of that order. And the definition of the different things that a check has to have in order to be considered a check comes from the Bill of Exchange Act of 1882. It has to have a date. It has to have paid to the order of whoever you're paying to. It has to have the amount in figures and words, which is why it's written out in letters as well as the numerical written out. And then it has to be signed. Everything has to be signed, right? Then what you realize that a check is just an order. So you take the Bill of Exchange that you're getting at the end of the month and you write orders on it, and it converts the Bill of Exchange into a check, and then you mail it back. And you can actually use all of those securities that you've been producing throughout the month, all of those promissory notes, to actually discharge the account. But instead, because you're fucking dumb, because we're all fucking dumb, because the most brilliant fucking minds in the world has brainwashed all of us, we send in a completely different type of promissory note called a Federal Reserve note that has literally absolutely fucking nothing to do with fucking anything at all whatsoever. And the thing is that even your mortgages, your lease agreements, these are all securities because they promise to pay a certain amount of money. They're fucking written, and then you fucking sign them. And what they're doing is they're going and they're exchanging these promissory notes with the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve Section 16 Part 2 tells you how to do it. And then 31 Code of Federal Regulations, Section 328.5 and 0.6 tell you the exact wording, exact size of the stamp. It's like 4.5 inches by an inch and a half. It tells you exactly what the size of the stamp is, where to stamp it, what the stamp's supposed to say, everything. And you mail that fucking thing in. These people are mailing in these securities to the Federal Reserve. As soon as you signed your lease agreement, the whole fucking 12 months is already paid. As soon as you signed your fucking mortgage, the whole thing's already paid. Every single time you use your credit card, you're producing securities, you're producing promissory notes. The goddamn thing is already fucking paid. All they're waiting for is your order, your check. That's all they need. And the fucking thing vanishes, bro. Vanishes. The mortgage vanishes. Your rent is gone.
All right, so let's break down what you're saying right now, because that's a lot to digest. So you're saying in stupid, right? Because I talk fluent stupid because I
me
am
too.
stupid.
I'm one stupid fuck, okay?
Okay. That that once you sign this, it's technically already paid off?
So a signature, when it comes to anything financial, a signature is not a signature. I mean, it is, but a signature is actually an endorsement. So on the back of your check, it says endorse here. Most people have seen that, right?
Yes.
So the thing is that ENDORSE, right? Endorse, which is what you see on the back of your check. If you look at the Bill of Exchange Act, they actually don't spell it that way. They spell it INDORSEMENT. As far as I can tell, they changed the spelling of it at some point in time. I don't even know why. Obviously, like I'm researching all this. It's all a work in progress, right? So when you start looking at, nobody's ever wondered, like, oh, endorse here. Okay, that just means like squiggle my initials or whatever people think. It's just manufactured ideas in
that
your
you're
skull,
signing off on it. That's what people think.
That's not what it is. That's not what it is. The legal definition of an endorsement. And it took me so fucking long to understand this. It's so fucking overly, unnecessarily complicated on purpose to prevent people from learning it. It's so fucking simple. It's explicit instructions on the release of an instrument from the person who is holding the instrument. That's it. That's it. That's it. So the thing is that there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can endorse instruments. Now, the one that everyone is doing and everyone just does all the time when they just squiggle bullshit on their shit, they do what's called a blank endorsement. Okay. And if you look up the definition in Black's Law of what a blank endorsement is, it literally says, and it might take me just a moment to pull this up. What you're doing is you're basically just releasing it to anyone, like anyone that wants it. They just put their name on it and then boom, it's theirs. That's what a blank endorsement is. So every single time you just squiggle horse shit on all your mortgages, on all your credit card statements, on all your everything, what you're basically doing in that moment is you're saying, hey, I'm releasing this to any fucking person who wants this. I mean, literally anybody who wants this, the value, face value of the security, you just put your fucking name on it, boom, it's yours. And basically the way it works is they consider it in law a donation. So what's happening is that we are all living in a matrix where, just like the babies are all in little pods producing energy and electrical energy, money is energy. These promissory notes are energy, and we are basically manufacturing it all day long and then giving it away as a gift to the financial institutions.
Interesting. I'm confused in the little stuff, but the last stuff you said is great. Johnny, what are your thoughts? We're going to check in with the resident intelligent person.
I would appreciate practical examples with this because I'm with Sam. I'm having a little difficulty. With
we
the concept.
Really need to make this.
If you could put it in a,
so
just a
I'm
practical
like,
example.
So
let's say you have a mortgage. Let's say you have a mortgage, right?
Let's go to gas station. I go to gas station. I buy gas with my credit card.
You're not paying for the gas. Anyone can. Well, payment has a particular legal definition, which means the settling of an obligation. That's another weird word. People think that payment means that you give Federal Reserve notes to somebody. Federal Reserve note. So to back up a little bit, United States. You guys probably know this part. United States is a private for-profit federal corporation that's located in the District of Columbia. Do you guys know that, or is that new to you?
Say that again. One more time.
The United States, the term United States means a private for-profit federal corporation physically located in the District of Columbia.
Yeah, and now this is what people are talking about with the Joe Biden stuff, that Joe Biden is president of this bankrupt corporation right now.
Everyone, Trump, everybody is. All of it is. There hasn't been a real government in this country for a long
Dude,
time.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That the United States is just a corporation. It's not
Congress. The Congress. The last time Congress was actually held in the original non-incorporated government, I believe, was like 1867 or something.
What?
Yeah.
How does
so what
that
happened
matter,
was
if
Congress
if everybody thinks it continues to operate as Congress,
that's the reality.
How does that
that's the so what you just said is the key to everything, because these people that are behind the curtain that are developing this entire thing, the brilliant minds, they operate off of that, what you just said, entirely. They don't when they developed all this, I'm sure everybody around them was like, bro, you're fucking retarded. No one's ever going to go for any of this. And all they did is just wink And they said, watch me hold my beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it really does. It really, really does. You are so fucking right to some degree. It does really just come down to, one of my favorite mentors is Dan S. Pena, and he says, perception is reality. Perception is reality, period. Right? It's totally true. Right? But the thing is that when you battle or when you challenge that perception by using what's written in their own codes, you shatter that perception. That's how you shatter it. It's the only way to shatter it.
And
they don't want to hear anything you have to say, but when you pull up a thing and it's got a definition for every single word and you've got it laid out to the point where they couldn't interpret it if they wanted to, that perception shatters like glass.
All right, guys, real quick, I want to take a moment to tell you about my boy, James McMahon, and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. We've seen so many people making ridiculous money from crypto, but did you know you could do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the coins that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy them. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest, as you simply do what he does. So let me tell you more about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 26,000 subscribers. Since March 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put $100 in each of those coins, it went up to be worth $123,000. Of the 26 coins, his top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then stop what you're doing and head right over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my listeners get full access for just $1. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. The recession is here, guys. You can suffer like everyone else or choose to thrive. James is the real deal. Go visit the site now. All right, guys, real quick, I want to tell you about some serious patriots. That's right, I'm talking about Blue Chew. Let's go. Let me tell you about Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, baby. Guys, remember the days when you were always good to go? Now you can increase your performance and get extra confidence in the bed. Listen up. It's BlueChew.com. Okay. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in a chewable tablet at a fraction of the cost. That's what we're talking about. Chewing cheap. I'm in, okay?
Chewing and doing.
Chewing
and screwing.
Blue Chew. Chewing and screwing. Chewing, doing, and screwing. There we go, bro. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead and be ready whenever the opportunity arises, okay? The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA. USA. Yeah. That's the eagle of lovemaking right there, okay? And be prepared and shipped directly to your door. It's all in a discreet package. So here's what we want you to do, man. Blue Chew wants to help you go get more bang for your buck. You get it? Buck, bang, bucking, pow. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. Okay? So we got a special order for you listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code TINFOIL at checkout and just $5 shipping, okay? That's BlueChew.com, promo code TINFOIL to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. BlueChew.com, tinfoil hat. And it's also that like an allegor if we all believe something to be true, it becomes true.
Yes.
So we all believe that the U.S. government is a country.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But so they can make that happen, and then nobody checks in on it because we were so naive. And maybe the times are different. And maybe I'm not saying it was 100% pure, but I do believe there was a time where journalists like to really put the politicians' feet to the fire to a point, right? And then people trusted journalists, because enough people got caught that people like, okay, they're doing great research. And then, Hillary Clinton comes and for such selfish reasons, completely destroys the illusion of the mainstream media. Like, she did so much damage to the illusion of the news and the illusion that they are there to keep the powerful and the elite's feet to the fire. And what she showed that they were 100% lapdogs for the elites, and they were going to push anything that, even if it didn't make any sense at all, they were going to push a narrative, and which gets into where at some point they're like, okay, the illusion's gone. Now we're going to just demoralize them. We're going to try to convince them that everything they believe
they've lost control. Yeah,
is not real. That men can be women. That men should be able to use female bathrooms. Men should be able to do, like anarchists and not anarchists. I love them, but arsonists are peaceful protesters. Like
now, one thing I have to say on this though is that a lot of people are worried about this. I love this. I absolutely love this, and the reason why is because what we're dealing with a situation where they are burning their own house to the ground. You can just sit back, like the way I look at it is, I got a little bit of Glenn Morangi right here, cheap shit, 10-year. I'm just sitting back, bro, and I'm just like, this is fantastic. It's like a free show to me, because the thing is that the farther they go and the crazier they get, the faster they're destroying that trust that, dude, I mean, even 10, 12 years ago, people still trusted the media. I mean, it's, this is not like crazy. Trump probably was the first one to really start to bang that door down. Yep, yeah. And then 2020 hit, and then that just accelerated everything 10 times worse. And then now, after seeing all the injuries that are happening and seeing all this kind of thing, it's just like they're tearing their own house down, and they're becoming more and more like frantic, desperate dogs.
I agree.
And
the
more frantic they get, and the more crazy they get, and the more crazy-eyed that they get, hey, it's better for us. It's better for us, bro. Yeah, the small, little, tiny, psychotic percentage of people, they're going to actually go along with this shit. Fine, let them fucking go. Let them burn off in some fucking, ditch somewhere. But the vast majority of people who have two fucking brain cells rubbed together, they're going like, whoa, wait a second. And the cool thing about it is that they're saying, they're creating so much confusion in the world that what people are doing is they're saying, I can't trust anybody anymore. I can't trust fucking anybody anymore. I can only trust myself. So what happens is that even if they don't want to take responsibility for their own perception, people are being forced into taking responsibility for their own perception. Thus, there's this whole new culture that's being produced in the world of people who are looking and analyzing everything for themselves. And that's where things like tinfoil hat come into play. Because what happens is that now you actually have a stage where you can go to and you can speak, because everyone wants to fucking listen, because nobody fucking trusts anybody anymore. It's beautiful. Nobody trusting anybody anymore, and them burning down their own fucking kingdom is literally the birthplace of places like Iconic and fucking Tinfoil Hat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think people are more and more awakened. I don't know. There's something else going on, because we do find not all, and Johnny and I kind of disagree on this. He thinks it's more widespread than I believe, which is fine, that the official like mainstream media narrative, I think less and less people are into it, but because based on the numbers. But then you go, well, if the numbers aren't good, why are there so many people that still, why am I having discussions with big name comedians who seem to have a really smart head and have a good, view of the world? Why are they still trying to tell me mass work? Well, their algorithm's lying to them, but how are they getting this narrative still? Like
it comes back to the brilliance. It still comes back to the brilliance because what they've done is they've brainwashed everyone into believing that if you don't go along with this campaign, even if you don't agree with it, you're going to lose your friends, your family, and your career.
You know where I noticed that it's like pretty much done in Ubers.
What do you mean?
Like I get in a couple Ubers a week, and I notice that these people don't fuck with the mask. They don't believe in. Those are common people to me. Like when you get an Uber, it's a random. Some guy, sometimes that's all he does.
I'm with you.
Sometimes he's a waiter. Sometimes it's a side job. Sometimes,
but
and those
the
are very
question
random.
becomes
Very rarely.
Are they bringing the mandate back though? All those people are back.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Will they? Well, yeah, but do you understand? Like,
have to is the word there.
Yes, they don't.
They believe the illusion that they must comply. It's the illusion that they must. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
If all of you don't believe, like, and you could see the magic, like you could watch the magic trick happening. All they have to do is set precedents. So Lionsgate, right, which is on strike, meaning nobody's working.
Oh, Lionsgate. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Lionsgate says you now have to wear masks if you're going to come on to the studio. Nobody's working.
Yeah.
Why do you say that? Because it sets precedents to people who might go, well, I mean, if other people are doing it, then maybe we should start locking down masks as well.
So at the Comedy Store, like you said, it was packed yesterday. Let's say right before the show started, a couple hours, you get an email saying, hey, masks are back. The only way to get in is with the mask. How many of those people would have said, fuck no, I'm standing for my beliefs in L.A. I'm not going to the show. Do you still think it would have been packed? Do you think 50% would have said, hey, you know what? I already bought the tickets. Who cares? Because I know you would have canceled the show. I know you would have canceled the show.
And I'm saying this right now, unless I get under huge pressure from people in my life, I will not travel if they bring back the mask.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm not defiant on it because I have pre-check and I love it and I don't want to lose that. So I'd rather not fly. So I'm not going to fly and I'm going to hurt them with the pocketbook and not buy any of their tickets to fly. I'm going to take it.
You're hurting really the airlines, and the airlines fought against the mask mandate.
Not all of them,
but most of you saw the CEOs of the airlines coming out saying like, "Listen, the filtration we have in these planes is way better."
You know
than
what, dude?
else.
I'm with you. So we have to push back.
So you're saying the right thing would have been don't go to the comment or don't go to the show. Not that if it would have been your show, but don't go to the show is the right move to go.
Can I chime in here real quick?
That's an interesting. I don't know what the answer is. Okay, go on.
So in my opinion, and this is kind of where my whole movement is actually going right now as we speak, and it's pretty big at this point. We're going to start. I'm going to basically create a bunch of videos. We're going to get a bunch of people, and we're actually going to train everybody how to be pro se litigants. Meaning you start experiencing this kind of a thing. And I've already got all the fucking codes. I've already got everything all ready to plug in. I'm going to have templates, everything. You go down to your local courthouse. You don't have to pay any money. There's actually a way that you can file documentation where you can start lawsuits where the judge has to look everything over and approve it. Basically, what you're doing is you're deferring payment on the lawsuit, and you're also deferring payment on the serving of the paperwork. So what happens is that basically everyone gets paid on the back end once the lawsuit is completed, and then you get paid. So you can actually literally sue all of these different places, sue everybody under the sun, start litigating like a fucking madman with no money down, like nothing, literally no cost to you at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I like that. I'm with you on that. I just want people to go, if enough of us push back. Okay, if enough of us push back, that they're going to be forced to deal with that. And I think because, and we saw this before, where like even in China, when they started doing this really heavy fucking getting tested every 2 seconds thing, people push back and they're locked in, and the government pushed back. Listen to me, everybody, and maybe on this show you already know this. Power is an illusion. It's an illusion.
Yes.
It is a magic trick.
Do you know exactly how power is held by these people? There's two types of power, though. If you think about it, there's good power, like your typical monarch, or one of the realizations I had recently when I was writing my all my copy for my new law firm website was the difference between the police and the fire department in terms of how people view them. Right, the fire department is practically like a bunch of superheroes. It's like the Marvel DC comic in real life. I mean, I've seen Silver Lake Fire Department sitting at down at Birds, on fucking Fountain or whatever, and or Franklin, and literally just woman after woman after woman after woman after woman. It's like the super hot girl sitting at the bar. It's but flipped. And these fucking fire department guys are like, what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And these girls would just be like, oh, just take me in the bathroom right now. Rail me. And they're just like, bro, I'm just trying to like have a fucking lunch with my boys. Like, really? Like, you really want to try, here, I want a picture with you. These people are like fucking celebrities. These people are like rock stars.
You know what that reminds me of is after 9/11, where all the New York City Fire Department guys just went on an ass tapping tour. They're like, we're just going to go around the country and meet everybody. And, they were just like, we're gonna bang chicks in 50 states, dog.
Yeah. So the thing is it comes down to a perception of value. It comes down to a perception of what it's so amazing. It's like that's power in a way, right? And then you have false power. That's power because you're badass and you deliver something of value and people love you, and you literally don't annoy anybody. You just save people from fires and you're just like handsome, and you do like half naked fucking calendars, and like you're just a fucking literally like a Greek god basically at that point, right? And then on the other side of the power structure, you have fake power, which is basically like where people believe or assume that they're being offered a contract that they can't refuse. Now, as far as I can tell from all the research that I've done, there's only two ways that you can put someone in a position where they feel like they can't refuse a contract, because you start studying contract law, and there's a lot of these secrets are all located in this. You're studying like ancient texts in law, bro. You're studying like 400-year-old fucking texts and shit like that. You're studying like some old shit. This is like a historical timeline when you're studying this legal shit, right? Is shame and regret. Shame and regret. If you can produce shame and regret in a person, then you can offer them a contract they feel they can't refuse. That's the mathematical equation, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean it is interesting what is real and what is not real. And
paying taxes, people believe.
Okay, let's get into it. Like Johnny wants to hear about this.
People believe. Now look, people believe that they are doing something harmful to their country by not paying taxes. So they pay their taxes even though they don't want to, because of the shame and the regret that is produced by absolutely brilliant people.
Who has shame and regret for not paying their taxes? Oh my God. Can you imagine getting that? I just can't imagine getting the headspace where you have shame and regret about not paying your taxes.
That's where most people are at. That's where you go anywhere like I'm from the Bible Belt, bro. I'm from Indiana.
Yeah, me too. I'm from North Carolina.
That's where everybody's at in fucking Bible Belt. And I'll tell you, it's probably the same in Kansas because they love their country, right? Which is okay. I was there, a couple of years ago too. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, truly, because I love my country too. It's just sad because there's actually two countries here. There's the corporation and then there's the original real fucking country. And what they're doing on purpose, it's all part of the whole fucking brainwashing brilliance of it all, is they're trying to get all the people in America, they're trying to give them a false manufactured reality of what this country is, so that they get so disgusted with it that they want to get rid of it. That's the whole plan behind the elimination and annihilation of the most pesky goddamn thing on the planet to these people, which is the United States Constitution. They want to get rid of that thing. And the only way they can get rid of it is if we want it gone and we request for it to be gone. 100%,
it's sort of like 100%, dude. Yeah. It is manifestation, dude.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we've talked about on the show.
The area where they talk about this a lot, actually, it's actually literally, I'm not even like talking about like some deep research I've done, is the fucking book, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion.
Oh snaps! You're in it, dude. Go on.
So that's really where, and people are like, oh, that's an anti-Jewish blah blah blah. No, Hitler used it as an anti-Jewish thing to persecute the Jews during the Holocaust. It was never supposed to be an the original text of that. It was never supposed to be an anti-Jewish thing. So, and the sources of information that I have, like this one like older lady who's really amazing in the Netherlands who creates a documentary called the Fall of the Cabal, which you guys have probably heard about, right? She talks about it a lot in her sequel of the Fall of the Cabal. She says that the Rothschilds, and she has some evidence that she produces that the Rothschilds actually produced that text originally. So I have her as one source prior to that point. But the bottom line is this: that text did exist prior to the Holocaust. So you got to think to yourself, if that text did exist prior to the Holocaust, that means that whatever Hitler did with it, and then it became an anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic text, supposedly, that may or may not be true. Whether this other information is true or not, it existed prior to that point. It was just manipulated and used by someone who manipulated and used a lot of things to his advantage to create it and say that it's a Jewish text and it has to do with, and then I believe they changed some of the words in there, like the word goyim, right, which means like a non-Jewish person and stuff like that. But anyways, getting off on the other point, they say right in that book that the entire purpose of what we're doing is to create so much chaos that the public they literally beg to be saved from it. And they'll do anything. They'll give up anything. Please save us.
Well, that is exactly the game plan, when you look at how they do it, which is create problem and have people beg for
problem, reaction, solution.
So if you get into, like, let's say 9/11, right? That was and we all know, because we've talked about on the show before, all the Thelema numbers of 9/11 and the whole desire to create this emergency. You traumatize the country on a mass level, and then they beg to be saved. I mean, exactly. How many times? Which is a great example of, like, here's a great example: Charles Manson. Charles Manson was an FBI, CIA asset, and they used him to scare everybody into being afraid of hippies and asking for tougher drug laws, right? The crack epidemic is the greatest example of manifestation. They flood the country with crack, right? Crime gets crazy because everybody wants more crack, and then we beg the people shipping in the crack to stop the crack. And then we build these privatized prisons. It is the greatest thing. I have my own theories. Again, I think the Jewish thing is middle management. I don't think they run shit. I think if you know their name, they don't run anything. At the highest levels, it's dark art sorcery, which is what we're talking about right here. That is my honest opinion. And
just to be clear on this point, because I don't like to talk about, like, broad sweeping general statements about any particular culture. Basically, like, from the research that I've done, you have the Ashkenazis, right? You have the Ashkenazis who basically were living in what? So I don't know if you guys have talked about this before, but do you know where modern day Ukraine used to be called?
Yes.
Like, a long time ago, it was the Khazarians.
Yes,
right?
Khazarians. Yes,
the Khazarians, right? So the Khazarian, the Ukraine is still the Khazarian base, which is exactly why even on the Ukrainian symbol for Ukraine, it's the same symbol as the Khazarian symbol.
100%.
You really look at the symbol; it's the same goddamn thing, right? So you got to think, like, why is the United States government, the private for-profit United States government that's located in the District of Columbia, so concerned about Ukraine? They're concerned about Ukraine because it has to do with the Khazarians. The Khazarians, what happened was that they were threatened by the Russian king, and the Russian king came down and said, "You can't be sacrificing kids and doing all this crazy ass shit. I'm going to leave. You can convert to Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, and if I come back down here, you're still doing this shit, I'm going to kill y'all." I don't know why he didn't just kill him. I guess back then it was more acceptable, or he felt like, it's like this culture is their own thing and they can do what they want with their own kids, or so. I don't know. It was like more of a freedom mindset back then, right? Probably. So they fake converted to Judaism, and then they traveled around the world and they were like nomads, and they would move from location to location. So that way they could never get, like, really pinned down. They became very, like, Fabian, right? Like almost like a gas in the society. And they used Judaism as a cloud cover. And from the research that I've done, real, true, original Judaism hardly even exists anymore. It's been almost like 99% usurped by the Hazarians, right? So the Hazarians have basically hijacked Judaism as a way of a protective cloud to say, like, no, we're not Hazarians, we're Jewish. And that's why you see so many weird anti-Semitic type things that are just like randomly sprinkled into all these different things, like even like you'll see like anti-Semitic laws randomly, like when you're studying law that like just have to do with like anti-Jew stuff. It's like, what the hell? Why is this even here? Like, it's totally random, right? So the thing is that when you have guys like what's his face, the big rapper that says, like, you know, Jews are fucked and they're behind everything. To me it's a way more complicated and depressing conversation, because the thing is that the Jews are the victims in this, in my opinion.
Well, I agree, and people don't want to get into it. You know, people don't want to discuss it because you start hearing these words, and you know the ADL labels everything anti-Semitic.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
see, like that, right? That's, you know,
and then the Jews end up taking the blunt of it, and they don't, you know, and it's just like, I've always said this, like, the days of protected classes when it comes to like who you can criticize, who you can't, that's all going away. That's because people are starting to be able to be like, why can't I say this? Why can't I say that? Why can't I say this? You know, and people are waking up to it. You know, I have to do this all the time. I live with a Jew. I love Jews. But they want to gaslight you into not looking at the stuff. Again, I'm with you. If you want to get into somebody who really breaks down the whole Malachians versus Luciferians, and you go deeper in, you know, Ian Ferguson has a great breakdown about the city of Tyre, and that is a big part of where there was a big like change into Moloch worshiping and all that stuff, black cube of Saturn, all that stuff. In reality, what you're saying is it's not the Jews, but because everyone's been conditioned so much that any criticism of anybody is anti-Semitism, and that's all done on purpose because it's a firewall to the higher levels of power where there are no Abrahamic religions. There's only masks, and at the highest level, it is dark arts, fallen angel worship. The Watchers,
Judaism is a hollowed out, fully hijacked Trojan horse. And there is a very, very small, from the research that I've done, there is a very, very small group, or maybe even subgroups, multiple groups, I don't know, of people who actually practice original Judaism. It's like 1% of the religion, right? I don't believe that they're associated with the main body of Judaism at all. And they wouldn't be, because why would you? Anyone who's aware of this, who's within that group, if they were able to contact the people who are practicing the original Judaism, to me, in my head, that 1% is the actual Jews. The other 99% is some color of a Hazarian. In my head, that's the way I think about it. They don't know they are, because again, it's all the brilliance behind how the fucking perception has been altered, the illusion. It's the manufacturing of the most beautiful illusion. It's, you know, if you think about it in a really fucked up way, it's almost like the black art. It's literally art. It's the ultimate creation. It's the ultimate creation of an illusion. It's no different than a video game. People fall into the illusion of a video game on the side of an enjoyment. It's almost like you can fall into the falsities and the brainwashing of a black art of the illusion, and you can be believing in your mind that you're enjoying in the illusion. Why would someone be involved in a black art, whether they know it or not, if they don't in their head have some semblance or illusion of enjoyment in what they're doing? There's some kind of pride.
I mean,
there's
quick,
some kind of increase in status. There's some kind of doing something more than themselves. There's some illusionary aspect that artificially inflates one of these areas that would even permit or hold a person in place practicing something like that, or even not knowing that they're practicing something.
Here's the thing, right? Is that there is a long running fucking generational trauma done to control people, and it's across so many boards in so many different ways.
Almost every group on the planet, you know,
and so from very young, you're just completely and utterly traumatized. So many people in so many groups are just constantly told about what has happened to their people, which silos everybody up and gets everybody fighting. Because if you actually studied all the Abrahamic religion, they're all just talking about the same events from different angles.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is just, and that's done on purpose. And, so again, I fight for humanity. I fight for everybody. I want everyone to love each other. Every means of control, whether it's financial, spiritual, health, every politics, art, any means to control people has been manipulated at the highest levels. And at the lower levels and the generations later, they may not understand that. So what sounds like blunt force is
no, it's finesse. It's the most beautiful,
but meaning what we're saying finesse. Right here is can come off as blunt force. In reality,
I see.
It's about love, and you can get into if I went to you, what is one of the biggest problems of today? And if you don't understand it, it is usury. It is interest on loans. And we can go into how, what, again, we talked about this before on the show. Why does America buy Saudi oil when we have enough oil to sustain ourselves? We pump enough every day to sustain ourselves. Well, you can go into fracking and all that stuff. Yeah. But what the Saudis represent, who basically control this giant black cube that everyone walks around as their thing to Mecca. Okay. They go around the giant black cube. Okay. Again, not judging anybody, but they use Saudi oil and the money profited as the lifeline of the international monetary fucking system. That's what they use. They want you to use that because then that money goes out to these banks and they lend it out to these third world countries. And these third world countries agreed to loans that they'll never be able to pay back so that they can come back later and take all their natural resources. They want you to use the Saudi oil so that you pay the Saudis, who in turn deposit their money into these international banks, and they use that bank money to fund the IMF loans to everybody. And you could go, well, why don't they just print it? Well, because they want to control everything at every point. Now, if the Saudis get out of line, they could go, nobody buy their oil. And now the Saudis are controlled. It's everybody circle jerking each other. It is a human centipede. That's what they're doing right now. They're all eating out of each other's financial butts.
It's the human centipede, except they connected the ass end and the front end together.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
Well, here's the thing. All media to some degree is talking about, even the show obviously is talking about, like what's going on. Let's talk about it. Let's try to figure it out. Is that in my own head, the reason why I don't consume a lot of media, I'm on a lot of media, I produce a lot of media, but I don't consume a lot of media, is because I feel like the protocols of learning elders of Zion, it really is that simple. It's like they know that if they create chaos, it doesn't matter. Like put this over here and put like 4 steps in the middle of it, and then like add this and like make this kind of transfer way over here, and then make like 4 people responsible for what's going on when it gets there, and then they're going to transfer it over here, and then it's going to come back here, and they create all this on purpose though, because chaos equals confusion equals control. It's that simple. So all chaos just becomes a control mechanism. So it's like they're actually trying in their mind. They're saying, how do we manufacture so much chaos on every single thing we can get our hands on that no one will come near it? And then at that point, we become gods.
Yeah, I mean, what it really is Babylonian money magic, and that's what it is. And, it's just like you can understand why certain people are in certain places in the system. It just goes back to history and usury and all that shit.
They become gods. Like you have these god complexes, but if you think about it, it's just like a lot of people tell me like they believe they have plausible deniability. I watched a video where they believe they have plausible deniability. They do have fucking plausible deniability, bro. If they just fucking forgave everyone's mortgage tomorrow, what they could do with a fucking push of a button, everyone would just, actually, you know what? We're not going to burn down the Federal Reserve. They could just push one button on the fucking keypad, boom, and they got insurance policies out the fucking wazoo when it comes to this kind of a thing. Their plausible deniability, they have so many backdoor plausible deniability strategies already put in place, you will never touch these fucking people. And you don't need to. You don't necessarily need to. Okay. And everything that I build and my whole movement and what I'm going for is we're not anti anything. What we are is we're actually manufacturing a brand new illusion. So it's the same thing, but we're in control this time. That's what we're doing, essentially.
I get it. So I want to get
ultimately
back
everything is an illusion, right? So
yes. So
but
I
getting back to
hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. I want to get back to the taxes thing because this is the big thing.
Let's do it. So let me. Can I go off on a little bit of a presentation here? I've got this pretty much down to a PowerPoint, but I'll make it exciting. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few things you can just type into Google. I'll read them verbatim. We're going to go through these super fast. Not going to be boring. But you can type them in for yourself, see them for yourself. I like to try to sew as many source pieces as I possibly can because this shatters the illusion so fast when people can look and see it for themselves, right? So 28 USC stands for United States Code. So 28 USC 3002 subsection 15. It says United States means, definition letter A federal corporation. Okay. For those people who have heard this, but they've seen also articles that say that isn't true. And so, there's a lot of so I'm showing you, this is definitive. This is the source material. End of story. No more debate is required. Okay. Now, where is that corporation located? You're going to go to the Uniform Commercial Code, which is UCC 9-307. Scroll down to subsection H as in Henry. It says location of United States. Below that, it says the United States is located in the District of Columbia. So now we know two things. We know it's a federal corporation, and we know that that corporation is located in the District of Columbia. So now we're going to get into the term U.S. citizen, right? U.S. citizen comes from, I believe it's 42 USC 9102, subsection 18. I think that's, yes, United States citizen. So it's 42 USC subsection 9102, subsection 18. United States citizen means A, any individual who is a citizen of the United States by law, birth, or naturalization. Okay, now United States means a federal corporation located in the District of Columbia. So in order to be a citizen of the United States, you would need to live in the District of Columbia. Okay, so we have three different categories as to how a person becomes. So we have three different categories. So I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can on this, and then we'll stop at a certain point, and I'll let you guys ask questions or whatever. But that's just this first part here. So there's three different ways that a person can become a United States citizen. You have by law, by birth, or by naturalization. Law would mean contracts. So contracting in would mean by law. It's that simple. Okay, we can get into it more or whatever, but if you're contracted in, then you would be a citizen of the United States by law. By birth would mean that you were born in the District of Columbia, which honestly, I thought it was going to be more of a problem, but it's really not. So even if you were born in the District of Columbia, it's really not that big of a deal because your nationality is based off of where you domicile. So you wouldn't really, if you still live there, that'd be a problem.
I never thought about that. That's super interesting.
Now, the third part is by far the most important part, and no one is talking about it. Not a soul, not even in what I'm doing, not even in my arena. No, not a soul on the planet is talking about what I'm about ready to say. The term naturalization. And you say oh yeah, I've heard that before. Isn't that when somebody lives in a state for more than 7 years and then they become a citizen naturally? No, actually, that has absolutely nothing to do with what the definition of naturalization is. Naturalization is the key to all taxation. So the definition of naturalization comes from 8 USC section 1101 subsection A23. So I'm going to scroll down. Now, this is so simple. Hold
on. Can you show us this on? Can you allow? Can we see something on screen?
Yeah. Share screen.
You want to let them share screen?
Yeah. Let's do it. Share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, take off all the porn. There we go.
Let me get the Pornhub down.
Okay, there we go. They got in big trouble. Have you seen that with Pornhub? We'll talk about that later. Big trouble.
So here's 28 USC 3002 subsection 15 definition A. United States means a federal corporation. Here's UCC 9-307 subsection H, location of United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. Here's 42 USC subsection 9102. We're literally barely even going into this because it looks like a lot of text. We're literally not even going to go past section A. United States citizen means A, an individual who is a citizen of the United States by law, birth, or naturalization. Now we're into 8 USC 1101 subsection A23. The term, this is so simple and so mind-blowing that most people cannot process this definition. So anyone listening to this, because I know you have a huge audience, if this is like unbelievable to you and there has to be more to it. Most law does actually have a lot of hidden information in it. Okay. This particular definition does not. It's shocking. So if you can't believe it and it's just totally like, it just can't be, then that's fine. And you need some time to process it or whatever. Look into it for yourself. I totally understand. I didn't even get it for a while because it was so simple. I thought for sure there has to be some black magic behind this one. Could never find any. So then I finally woke up one day and I go, holy fuck, it's this simple. I can't fucking believe it. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state. And we're going to clear up every single word in this definition. The conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Now, what does that mean? We're going to clear up every single. So it's very simple. It means you just fucking say it. I'm not even kidding. I'm literally not fucking with you at all. When you have a driver's license and the application screen on the computer pops up and it says, are you a U.S. citizen? And you click the yes box under no duress, you just naturalized into the District of Columbia as a U.S. citizen.
So attestation alone, I think is what you would call
attestation alone.
Yeah.
Wow. Conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Now, the first thing, so this gets crazier. Right? So we're going to go to my website. I have my own nation because it takes about 3 seconds to create a nation. You can create a micronation of a tinfoil hat micronation. Literally, you could have that thing up and running by tomorrow, right?
Where will you guys want to set that up? Where are we going to go?
You don't need a location. I'll explain it to you. You don't need a location.
I think John Lennon tried this actually with Yoko Ono. They set up their own country for a while in the 70s.
So check this out. So the word nation, society, body politic, and state. Those are the four main terms that talk about this, right? So we'll clear up each one. Body politic from Black's Law. And I just put this here for quick reference, but obviously you can look it up in Black's Law. It's the exact text.
What is
it's
Black's
copy and
Law?
paste. Black's Law is basically a series of definitions that come straight out of court cases. So the court actually defined the word in a particular way based off of all their studies and all their communications and all their talks and all their debates. Those definitions of those words become precedent for the definition in the future. And there's a whole fuck ton of them. Like the word corporation has like 4 pages of court cases where they're talking about the definition. Okay. So the definition of the term society. An association or company of persons, generally unincorporated, united together by mutual consent in order to deliberate, determine, and act jointly for some common purpose. In the wider sense, the community or public, the people in general. Now, you'll notice it doesn't say anything about territorial location here. Body politic, which we're going to see in the definition of nation. State or nation or public associations, which again, we're a lot of the same words are used. So we're going to go down to the word state. In its largest sense, a state is a body politic or a society of men. So you can see a lot of these words are interchangeable, right? Now, I did a lot of research on this and I was like, well, what the fuck is a nation then, right? I found this court case. And again, case law is an opinion, okay? But it can be used. To me, this court case is what blew open the whole subject of micronations in my mind like crazy, okay? So he says in this court case, a nation is an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. But every combination of men who govern themselves independently of all others will not be considered a nation. A body of pirates, for example, who govern themselves are not a nation. To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. The body thus formed must respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. Such a society has her affairs and her interests. She deliberates and takes resolutions in common, thus becoming a moral person who possesses an understanding and will peculiar to herself and is susceptible of obligations and rights. So a nation basically operates the same way that a group of cells operate in the production of a physical body. That's the definition of the word nation. It's not location-based. It's not land-based. It's not territory-based. It's culture-based. It's idea-based. And that's why in the law, naturalization is the conferring of a state or nation upon anybody. I could probably fucking confer nationality on you, Sam. And technically, as per the definition, it'd be legal, which is totally insane. So the thing is that you literally everyone is a United States citizen because they say on paper that they're a United States citizen, which puts them in the District of Columbia. If you live in the District of Columbia, it's a private, for-profit, foreign corporate zone. You're literally going through the process of expatriation. Expatriation. You are expatriating when you say that you're a U.S. citizen. You're saying, I'm not an American. I work for the government.
Okay.
So you look up 26 USC 944. I think it's 944C. Let me see here. Expatriate.
You don't have to worry about us calling you up on that, by the way.
Yeah. Hold on. So
hold on. Check this out. One thing, right? Real quick. The term expatriate means any U.S. citizen who relinquishes his or her citizenship, right? So we're going to get into this next part, which is the last part. How dare
that definition assume gender?
This is his or her or Zim or Zer. Sorry.
Yeah, Zim, Zap, Yop.
Now, this is where the term you said at the beginning of the show, you're going to teach us how to become a national or nationality, right? So now you say to yourself, well, if it's that easy, shit, I want to get out of this real fast, right? Because only U.S. citizens have a tax liability, which we're going to get into that as well,
dude,
right?
This is crazy.
So look, 8 USC 1101 subsection A23 is where we found the definition of naturalization right here, right? We found the definition of the word naturalization. Now, just above that, in the same section, subsection 21, look at this fucking thing right here. The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Now, this gets crazier. Normally, when they use the word state, it's capitalized. In this definition, they do not capitalize the word state. And when you click on it, it goes to the definition of the capital word. But
whoa.
yes.
Look
now
at
also
that.
Look at this. Look at the word F in federal when they define United States is also capitalized. See it here? So what I did was I did a lot of digging. This is done on purpose. All of this is all artistically put together on purpose. When they capitalize the F in federal and when they capitalize the S in state, what they're referring to is they're referring to the corporate version of the state called State of California, which is physically located in the District of Columbia and is a subcorporation of the corporation called United States. So when you say you live in State of California, you're also conferring the nationality of a state upon yourself. That state is a corporate state that's located in the District of Columbia. So you've conferred that you live in the District of Columbia 2 times. Once when you signed up as a U.S. citizen, and again when you said you are a resident or domiciled in State of California, which is a corporation that's located in the District of Columbia. You can find the goddamn thing on Dun & Bradstreet as a business listing. If you go to my website, onestupidfuck.com, and you go to State National Resources and you scroll down, I have the Dun & Bradstreet listing, the business directory listing for the entire government of the United States, which is right here. You can see for yourself. Government of the United States. This is not my website. This is a live link that I just clicked on, dnb.com. You can see it up top. This is the business directory listing for government of the United States, located in the District of Columbia, doing business as U.S. government.
Yep.
Wow.
And then you'll look up the same thing, and you're going to find, let's see here. And on that same Dun & Bradstreet, if you go to the top, search here, State of California. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom. This is a goddamn corporation. This corporation is not located where you think it's located. It's located in the District of Columbia. The key principal is Gavin Newsom, right?
That's
so the thing is that you only have a tax liability if you live in the District of Columbia, if you live in the United States. You only have a state tax liability if you live in the corporation called State of California, which is also located in the District of Columbia. You pay sales tax because you live in the corporation called State of California. It's a state tax. So when you file your documentation and you go through an expatriation process, which is just conferring the nationality of any state, you can make it up. You can say, I'm a tinfoil hat state, tinfoil hat nation. You don't have to you have to tell where it is. And plus, on my documents, when you look at my documents, they want to know where it is. Fine. It's Earth. That's technically a location. It answers the question, and they can't fight me in a court of law.
Let me ask you this. Okay, I'm going to ask you. So if I say I'm from the state of SamTripoli, right?
Yes.
That means I'm no longer part of the state of California.
And you're no longer part of the United States, but you have to actually say that. You're conferring the nationality of that state. Now, I've thought a lot about this. The definition of a state or a nation, like we already went over from that, I like this. I mean, look, there's a lot of things you can look. You can read the whole fucking, whatever it's called, the League of Nations. There's a bunch of things you can read about what a nation is and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, me personally, that thing that I showed you earlier from my website, the definition of the word nation that comes from that particular court case, I just love it. I mean, it's just the best fucking thing I've ever seen. I feel like it gives a great description. This one here, right? Now, in my head, what makes sense to me is that when you're conferring the nationality of a state upon yourself after birth by any means whatsoever, you don't have to, but I think you should describe what that state or society or body politic or nation is composed of in relation to the definition of the word nation itself. We are a group of people. We have a podcast. We really enjoy comedy. We really enjoy talking about, like this. We were composed of maybe this particular demographic. Location isn't part of it. So you can add in locational information or not. You don't have to. As far as I can tell, there's a couple definitions of nation where it says oftentimes inhabit a particular territory, but keep in mind those definitions are from like 150 years ago. So there was no internet. There was no ability for there to be some sort of like online nation. Okay. Now, if you look at all the different definitions of what a nation is, none of them specifically and clearly like hardcore lock down the fact that it has to be within a particular territory, but you can get around that really easily. And I already have by just saying Earth. It answers the question. Where are you located? Earth. Well, it has to be more specific. No, it doesn't. It says territorial location. Is Earth a territorial location? Oh, well, yeah, it is. So shut the fuck up. It is.
The question has been answered. Jam you up with your passport if you do this?
We get passports all the time. We get special passports that give us diplomatic immunity. I can get into all that. I've got special diplomat license plates right here.
Well, go back. We can't see that.
Yeah, you're covered up by the. Hold on, I can kind of give you more.
I'll show you later.
Hold on.
I'll show you later.
Bring it up again, and I'll give you more of the screen at least. Go again.
Hold on. You have diplomatic license, and that is legal.
Of course. I'll show you how it's legal too. It's really simple.
So if you get a speeding ticket, you pay for that?
You don't get speeding tickets. And you can discharge it by signing it off in a certain way. You can actually endorse the speeding ticket, like I was describing earlier, just like it's a security, because it is a security. You can actually endorse the speeding ticket, send it back, and it'll discharge the speeding ticket. But here, bring the screen back up again. I'll show you something else. This is the most important thing. So now we realize that we can expatriate. We can become what's called a national from 8 USC 1101. Now, one of the words
national, you mean of my new state?
Well, yes, you're a national of the state of SamTripoli, or SamTripoli state, or the nation of SamTripoli, or whatever.
I like the nation of SamTripoli.
Whatever you want, right? You can even write up your own fucking tax treaty, and you can put on the top of it tax treaty between United States and SamTripoli nation, and you can mail it to the fucking IRS, and they'll accept it. So check this out. The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Now we've already cleared up the word state. The word person has a particular definition in law that's really fucked up. You guys are probably already familiar with that, at least.
Oh, yeah.
So the word person means legal fictions as well as live human beings, right? And that comes from everywhere. You can even find this definition on your tax forms. You can find it everywhere. The term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, a state, partnership, association, company, or corporation. All corporations are considered persons in law, right? So what they do is
why they can give money donations to politicians.
Yeah, so like if you go to my legal website, my law group website, and you scroll down to my profile, I made a big joke out of this. Here's me, right? And then here's my public corporation. Brandon Joe Williams in all capital letters is a public corporation. It's a person in law, right? So I made an entire profile, and I operate my law office as though that corporation is literally a human being, because in law, that's how they view it. And then you go down to my partner, right? And you go down and he has his own as well, his own section, where there's also the same thing for him as well. See? So my law group, quote unquote, actually has 4 persons in it. Only 2 of them are human, 2 of them are legal fictions, right? So back to this other definition, we have 8 USC 1101 subsection A21, the term national, right? So now we know almost every single definition of every single word in this definition now so far. We're only missing one definition, which is the word permanent, okay? The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. So we click on the word permanent. This is fucking hilarious. This just goes to show you, whoever wrote all this, I'm telling you, it's a small group of people that wrote all this. It's all fits together way too well. It's way too complicated to not fit together like it does, right? The term permanent means a relationship of continuing or lasting nature, as distinguished from temporary. But a relationship may be permanent, even though it is one that may be dissolved eventually at the instance of either the United States or of the individual in accordance with law. So it means nothing. It literally means nothing. It's literally just used as a way to make people think that it has something to do with, like, I have to have been in a particular place for a long time or something. It's just chaos. You can remove it from the sentence. It means nothing. So if we remove that word from the sentence, the term national means a person owing allegiance to a state. State means nation. Nation means a culture or group of people. That's it. It's that fucking simple.
So
you naturalize into that state that you just manufactured out of thin air by simply conferring the nationality of that state upon yourself after birth by absolutely any means whatsoever. Generally speaking, the best way to do it is in writing. And the best way to do it in writing is through an affidavit. An affidavit is like a sworn letter, essentially. It's that simple, right? So you write a goddamn affidavit. It says, you know, I through the process of naturalization, I am expatriating as a U.S. citizen, and I am naturalizing as a national of the SamTripoli nation. The SamTripoli nation is defined as the following. And then what you do is, I have my own documentation for my nation, which is called the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition, right? And I have a document that you actually attach to your passport. This is the document. I give it away for free. You just plug in your name. That's all you need to do. You plug in your name, you print it off, you take it in with your passport application, and you submit it with your passport application, which is the DS-11 form, right? And this is what gives you diplomatic immunity.
Oh, I want diplomatic immunity.
Those plates you had, who made those plates?
I made them from scratch.
So
like on a sign maker, like an online sign making website.
Got it.
Now, if you look at this, I've pretty much already explained everything in this show that breaks down this whole document, right? Hello, if the passport card is printed in my legal name, that name signifies a public corporation. This is the actual definition from Black's Law. A public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government. So what happens is everyone believes that name that they're getting all their mail in all capital letters is them. It's not them. It's actually a public corporation. And the definition of public corporation is very, very clear. This is not some conspiracy theory. A public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government. They made it on purpose. This is old.
So
this is old stuff, man.
How is this going with you paying taxes? Are you
Johnny
jammed up with the IRS or because I'm
so
really
here?
curious.
So all right. So let me we'll go through this a little bit farther, and then we'll get in the taxes part after this.
Gotta
is so
know.
simple, so simple. Okay. So, now as you know, a corporation gives you limited liability in commercial activity, right? So the way I look at it is way different than everybody else in this arena of sovereignty and everything else. I look at it as a great thing. I don't want anybody taking away my fucking public corporation, bro, because public corporation gives me limited liability in commerce. I can act with you think diplomatic immunity is good. Fucking commercial immunity is a whole different kind of immunity. I got immunity in every fucking direction, everywhere you look. I use that public corporation to my advantage. Okay. So, I say here, in accordance with how the United States is defined as the definitions we just went over, and myself as the agent on behalf of the public corporation, I don't reside or domicile in the United States. I'm not a citizen of the United States, nor a U.S. citizen. I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen, and I invoke the power of the 9th Amendment. The 9th Amendment is super badass. It basically literally just says, like, just because the Constitution says that you can or can't do specific things doesn't like exclude other things that the Constitution may not talk about. So basically, it's like one sentence, bro. The 9th Amendment. The 9th Amendment basically means like anything you want to make your right, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. Like you just basically conferred upon yourself, and like boom, like now it's your right. Like it's literally that badass. The 9th Amendment's like the most badass fucking thing in the world, right? Nobody knows about it. Okay. I am conferring nationality of a state upon myself through the process of naturalization as per 8 U.S.C. 1101, subsection A23, in order to have the status of national, as per 8 U.S.C. 1101, subsection A21. I will attach either a certificate of live birth or a DS-10 birth affidavit form that proves to prove that I have, in fact, been born. It's a bit silly, but it says in the definition that after birth. So it's like they can assume you've been born, or just to be totally safe, because this is like law is totally literal, you send in a birth certificate. It's like, here's the proof I've been born. Like it fits the definition of fucking naturalization, right? I am not a U.S. national as per, there's another one that's a little bit weird. So we tell them we're not that one, right? I nor my nation waive any jurisdictional immunity granted to myself or my foreign state, such as that mentioned. There's an area in Title 28 where you can actually waive. It actually says that foreign nationals can waive their jurisdictional immunity through express or implied means. So the part about that scared me a little bit was implied. They can say, oh, you implied that you're waiving jurisdictional immunity. You're saying right here, I am not waiving any jurisdictional immunity to my private foreign nation. You're saying that liberally, right? I am a non-citizen, foreign national, and ambassador at large, which is actually a term from the passport information when you start restudying how the passports work, for the nation of the Amnesty Coalition. This is the most important part. This sentence right here is the most important part of any document. And in fact, you could just put this one sentence on here and mail the fucking thing, and you've already done it. I just put all this extra shit in here for fun. You could write this fucking sentence on the back of a goddamn DS-11 form and not even attach any paperwork, and you'd be fine. Because this is naturalization. I am conferring these statuses and nationalities upon myself as the agent without any request for permission or approval. I'm not asking you to approve this passport. In fact, if you don't approve it, bad things are going to happen because you're going to court real fast. Because the thing is, the term naturalization says nothing about any approval process. There is no approval process. The problem is that everyone's asking the Department of State to confer nationality of a state upon them. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Crazy,
oh, will you
right?
please? Oh, will you please confer the nationality of my micronation upon myself? No, fuck you, bitch. Like, we want to stay in control of you. That's the problem, because when you ask them to confer it upon you, they can say no. But naturalization never says anything about that. It says by any means whatsoever. That's to the point where literally I could write an affidavit that says SamTripoli is now a nation of the SamTripoli nation. I would assume it would be kind of like fraudulent unless you approved it, but it would technically still fit the definition of naturalization, because it says the conferring of a state by a person on a person. It doesn't even say like by themselves. It just says like on anybody in any direction. Like you could confer nationality of a state on your kids. And you would say, my kid is now a national of the SamTripoli nation. I'm not asking for your approval. I'm not asking for permission. Please issue my passport. They have no choice, bro. They legally don't have a fucking choice but to issue you a passport that's a foreign diplomat passport of the nation of the SamTripoli nation.
God,
they have no choice.
So
they have no choice, bro. They have no choice.
So my parents became citizens or residents for right now. Could they just have become residents to SamTripoli nation and not been deported?
But dude, there's a bigger thing here, XG. You can just say you're a U.S. citizen. That's what he's saying.
This is like that episode of The Office where he just walks in.
You can literally say, I'm a U.S. citizen.
And screams, I declare bankruptcy. Like you have to just declare it out loud. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you can literally say.
because it's such a process. I mean,
no, but but according to this, you should go through here and find that thing that says whatever means.
By whatever means.
By whatever means, which is you saying I am a U.S. citizen.
Isn't that dangerous? I mean, in a way, isn't that dangerous? Because now every fucking Mexican, every Guatemalan,
but
every
nobody knows that.
That's no. All the quote illegals are all nationals. That's why they're getting all the benefits. That's why the foreigners are getting all the benefits. I'm technically an illegal alien. I'm not an illegal alien, but
I want to be illegal.
Yeah, basically, that's basically what you're doing. You're not an illegal. You're actually becoming. There's actually, when you become a national, it's actually a whole higher level of protection that you get from the government. Plus, you don't pay taxes.
How do I become that?
Yeah.
I want
so now I know you guys are eager about the tax thing. So let's get into that. That part's after we've already gone over all this. The tax thing, you probably already kind of can figure it out. It's really simple at this point, but I will show it to you. Obviously, all this is part of it, right? This is to become an ambassador at large for the nation of the Amnesty Coalition. This is my nation, right? And then I have the covenant of an ambassador. And what is a covenant? What does the covenant entail? It basically, what we stand for in the nation of the Amnesty Coalition is we stand for forgiveness, and we stand for like a focus and an undying, I call it childlike obsession with the definitions of words, terms, and phrases. That is basically what my nation stands for, right? Most nations have citizens, and then they have ambassadors. My nation does not have citizens, and it's part of the covenant. There is no option to be a citizen of the Amnesty Coalition. They're only ambassadors. Every single person who is involved with or located in the nation of the Amnesty Coalition is an ambassador or a diplomat by definition only. There is no passive roles in my nation. Okay, and I go into all that in the document, right? So now we're going to get into taxation. So Title 26 of the United States Code, right? If you go to actually, no, we're not going to go to the United States Code. We're going to go to the Code of Federal Regulations. We're going to go to 26 CFR 1.871-1. I'm going to show you the whole tax code is huge. I'm going to show you two tiny little sections, and the whole tax code is going to make complete sense to you. It's hilarious. You guys are all going to become tax professionals in the next 5 minutes.
Don't pay taxes.
I'm not kidding.
Get a pig butt plug at the same time.
Yeah, so fuck yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Save big on Temu. Better fucking send some commission checks over to SamTripoli, guys. All right. So classes of aliens. You have two. You have. It says here, for purposes of the income tax, alien individuals are divided generally into two classes. So basically, taxes are two classes. We're going to keep this Really simple. Okay. Resident aliens, which is what the other guy was talking about earlier, and non-resident aliens. Okay. Resident alien individuals are, in general, taxable the same as citizens of the United States, which means the same. It all means the same thing. It's all just a bunch of smokescreen chaos bullshit. Okay. A citizen of the United States is someone who lives in the District of Columbia or says that they're a citizen of the United States. It's literally that simple. Okay. A resident alien is somebody who lives in the District of Columbia. A citizen of the United States is somebody who lives in the District of Columbia or says they live in the District of Columbia, because the definition of naturalization says that you say you live somewhere and boom, you live there. It's that simple. Okay. So a resident alien is taxable on income derived from all sources, including sources without the United States. So in law, in all of law, the word without means outside of, which I'm sure you probably figured that out already. So you have resident aliens and you have non-resident aliens. Resident alien is somebody who lives in the District of Columbia or says that they live in the District of Columbia. That's it. That's the whole tax code in a sentence. Okay. Non-resident alien is somebody who does not live in the District of Columbia or, shockingly, says they don't live in the District of Columbia. Okay. Now, this is the part that gets you pissed off. Okay. Non-resident alien individuals are taxable only on certain income from sources within the United States. So me as a national, I only pay taxes on the amount of money that I make directly and explicitly from the District of Columbia. So basically from the government, essentially, right? A government contractor, a little bit more complicated situation, right? Technically, you would have a tax liability, but like not really, because I'm going to show you another part that kills even that, right? So here's the second part. This is the part that gets people riled up. Pissed off, right?
I'm pissed.
So here's the second part is where you get pissed, right? So it says here, however, non-resident alien individuals may elect to be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. So again, what does that mean? That means you literally volunteered. It means that you were 18 years old, you didn't live in the District of Columbia, but you filed a W-9 form that said that you did live in the District of Columbia. And because the government is such a benevolent, loving soul, they didn't come after you for perjury on that document, which they could have done. They could have locked you up for a year because you lied under penalty of perjury. Instead, they decided to be just absolutely so kind. And they allowed you to basically interpret that activity as you electing to be treated as though you're a U.S. resident for purposes of determining your income tax liability.
Crazy.
So all you do, and I literally have a document that they very, very rarely send these out. Oh, boy. I don't know, whoever sends these out probably gets dragged into some closet and murdered immediately after they send it out. But if you go to, I've seen two in my entire life, and one of them was actually from one of my people very, very recently. So in my free course, the Contract Killer course, I teach you how to file the simplest version of what's called a revocation of election on the planet. It takes 5 minutes. You use what's called a Form 56. You mail it in, registered mail or certified mail. So we're talking a revocation of election. You can do it by yourself. It takes 5 minutes, and it's going to cost you maybe $15 or $20 in postage. And you never, ever have a tax liability ever again. You don't even need to file a goddamn tax return. Okay. Now, very, 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 very rarely do we see these documents that come back. But I got this one. Literally, you can see it August, I think 3rd or 23rd or something. August it's like 3rd, very recent. Yeah, August 3rd. Yeah. Dear taxpayer, thank you for your correspondence, which we received on May 10th. We received your revocation of election on date above. We reviewed the information you provided and determined no action is necessary on your account. If you have questions, you can contact us. That's it. Literally. It's that simple. There is no approval process. And when you look up all these little codes in the upper right and what they all mean, this is actually an informational return. There is no approval process for a revocation of election. You mail it in, they accept it, they process it. There is no approval, disapproval on these. Okay. It does not exist. It's just you mail it in, They receive it. It's done. Period. There is no approval line. There is no, we need more information. There is no anything. You just revoke that election from 26 USC 1.871, 26 CFR 1.871-1. You're revoking that election to be treated as a resident alien for purposes of determining your income tax liability. It's so fucking simple, bro.
Okay.
Now
so
the thing is, the thing is, now hold on. The thing is, if you're still a U.S. citizen, this could be a little complicated, though.
You gotta listen to me. We gotta understand what you just fucking told us, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you gotta hold on. When I ask questions, it's for a reason. Sorry. All right,
go for it.
I have a podcast. It's called Tinfoil Hat. You're on it. I know what I'm doing here, dude.
I get excited. Sorry, I get excited.
So hold on. So what you're saying is I'm sending that in to the IRS to tell them what?
You're saying a long time ago, I filed a tax return that stated that I was a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person.
Okay.
I didn't really know at that time what that meant. I didn't really know at that time that what I was doing was I was actually naturalizing into the District of Columbia. I don't live in the District of Columbia. I never have lived in the District of Columbia. And I'm here today to tell you that I now revoke or take away that election that I didn't know I was doing when I was probably 18 years old.
Okay. Interesting.
You volunteered to be a taxpayer.
And now you're unvolunteering.
Boom. You got it right there.
What is the purported purpose for this documentation that you're filing? If you ask the IRS, what would they tell you that document that was filed is for? I've had multiple reports of people getting put on hold for a long time. Then the person comes back and they're like totally startled out of it, and they tell the person on the phone. They tell the person on the phone that it's a very advanced tax strategy. That's hilarious. An advanced tax strategy.
Yeah, we've had employers call, payroll companies call, everything. They're not gonna go and cymbal the fanfare. They're not gonna have drums and trumpets, but they will acknowledge that this is a real thing over the phone.
And we're talking about no matter how much money you make.
No, doesn't matter. You don't unless you make it from the District of Columbia. That's the tricky one.
So if I say I'm no longer a part of the District of Columbia,
which is a U.S. citizen.
I do not have to pay taxes to the IRS. Is that what you're telling me?
You don't have to pay taxes, and then what you do is you go through, like, for example, my course is called the Contract Killer Course, because what I teach you to do is I teach you how to locate every single time you ever naturalized. Right. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to clean up all of those times that you conferred nationality of a state upon yourself. And you're going to go through and you're going to naturalize or expatriate in every single area, your driver's license, everywhere else, right? For example, the reason why voting is this big thing, you got to vote, everybody's got to vote, is because when you vote, you sign under penalty of perjury that you live in the corporation called State of California. It's one of the key contracts that they use to trick you into naturalizing into the District of Columbia. So what you can do is, I know a lot of people on this show are going to want to vote, so I have a way around that. You want a paper voter registration. You cross out State of California, and you put the unincorporated Republic of California, or the unincorporated California Republic. You have to write it above that, and then you sign that, and then they'll always accept it because they don't know about any of this. And then at that point, you can still vote, but you don't technically live in the District of Columbia. They accepted the contract as written. If they accept the contract as written, then you're out of it. Yeah.
So what you're saying, like, let's say I don't want to pay taxes no more. I sit there and I unvolunteer myself. But at that point, I can't vote because technically I just told them that I don't want to be part of this country of this, right?
No. So basically the way it works is there's two different countries. Let me do another screen share on this. There's two countries. There's the United States, and then there's the United States of America. Two totally separate countries. Okay. United States is the District of Columbia. It's the corporation. United States of America is the non-incorporated 50 states. Okay.
And the proof on that is 28 USC 1746. This one actually comes from, so what happened is the 14th Amendment is what actually created the two different classifications, the federal U.S. citizen and then the state national, right? It's called the slaughterhouse cases is where they really dug into this. So I think it was like 1871, 1872 is when they passed the 14th Amendment. And then the slaughterhouse cases started in 1873 in the Supreme Court. And they tore this whole subject apart in great, great detail, right? And they determined that there's actually two different countries. There's the United States, and then there's the United States of America. When you sign any affidavit, right, as per, and even up to today, it's right here on the United States Code, live, right here today. That's why I'm telling you guys are worried about this stuff changing and everything else. None of this shit's changing, bro. None of it. This is old as fuck. This section right here probably comes from 1873. Okay. So I know it says 1976 because they probably talked about it or something around that time, but I'm telling you, this information I'm about ready to show you right here, probably from 1873. Okay. So if you execute a document or affidavit outside of the United States, you're supposed to declare under penalty of perjury of the laws of the United States of America that the document is true and correct. This is how I sign all my affidavits. I don't live in the United States.
And you forfeit no other privileges or rights that would be valuable.
You actually gain tons of rights. So 18 USC 112. Basically, there's a bunch of different terms that they use to describe, because you're basically a foreign diplomat now. You're a foreign diplomat operating in the United States now. Okay.
Well, would that only apply to the corporation though? The diplomatic status?
Well, the corporation is all that exists. There is no state government anymore. It's all just corporations that are traipsing around as though they are the state, but they aren't. There is no state government.
So who is? You mentioned that you could vote though in the state government. Who's actually organizing those elections? Is it not the?
I say that because people get angry and they want to vote because there's a lot of indoctrination in that area. I don't vote. My people don't really vote, most of them. So it's not really something.
So you think that's just a charade? Is what you're saying?
You're voting for a president of a for-profit corporation that's located in the District of Columbia. You're voting for two different corporations. You're voting for the CEO of a corporation called United States, and then you're also voting for a CEO of another corporation located in the District of Columbia called State of California. State of California only governs the people who have stated or who have naturalized into State of California. So technically speaking, anything that State of California passes would have absolutely nothing to do with me at all whatsoever, literally. Yeah. It's a jurisdictional impossibility. I don't live in State of California. And the way that you live in State of California is by stating that you live in State of California. Naturalization, right? By law, birth, or naturalization. Okay. So, when you become a national and you don't live in the State of California, you don't live in the United States anymore, and you live in whatever state that you manufacture, because you can say whatever you want because you confer nationality of any state upon yourself after birth by absolutely any means whatsoever, and it's accepted. There's a bunch of, so basically what happens is Native American and national basically mean the same thing in law. There's a lot of confusion on that. Tribes have their own tribal police. Local police don't have jurisdiction in the tribe. The tribe has jurisdiction over their own tribe because they're all nationals. Tribes have their own legal sections inside the tribe. They know all this information. If you want to find a group that's the only groups around America that knows a lot of the information that I'm talking about today on this show, it's tribal legal arms. They know all this information or a lot of it. Okay. They just don't talk about it. Okay. Because tribes are used to getting fucking pummeled and burned and all this stuff. And they keep their mouth shut because they're tired of getting fucked with. Okay. So there's 6 different terms that are used to describe a national. We've got foreign government, foreign official, internationally protected person, which is my personal favorite. I call it an IPP. I'm like, I'm an IPP, man. What's up? International organization, national of the United States, and official guest. Those are the terms that you can use, right? And there's all these special protections that you get internationally as an IPP. So you actually, not only do you not lose anything, you actually gain a whole bunch of additional protections The government's actually sworn to protect you internationally. And what's also very interesting, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you guys, and then we'll just kind of stop for a little bit because I think I've kind of melted you guys a little bit. You guys are still with me, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're here.
So the definition of foreign government. Okay, now that to me, and of all the information I've shown you guys so far, this is probably the most important thing that I have ever found in my research. This is the key to everything, in my opinion. No one else is saying that, so this is my opinion. Okay, the definition of the term foreign government. Again, it's going to blow your mind. It's like naturalization. Okay, the term foreign government means any government, faction, or body of insurgents within a country with which the United States is at peace. Here is the kicker. Here's the big one. Irrespective of recognition by the United States. You need absolutely no approval. Yeah. You don't even need to let them know you're there. All you have to be is at peace. So what I did is I went on a whole long research project. I was trying to figure out, well, what the fuck does at peace mean, right? And I went through all these different definitions and stuff, and I have a definition here that I really liked from Black's Law. The tranquility enjoyed by a political society, internally by the good order which reigns among its members, and externally by the good understanding it has with all other nations. Applied to the internal regulations of a nation, peace imports, in a technical sense, not merely a state of repose and security as opposed to one of violence or warfare, but likewise a state of public order and decorum. So this definition of peace and the definition of nation are very, very similar. It's just like, are you good at diplomatic relations, and can you operate with some decorum? And are you is your group experiencing tranquility, and are you sharing tranquility with the other nations and groups that you're in contact with? That's the definition of peace. So as long as you fit that definition and you're in your file as a national, you just made yourself a micronation, bro.
That's crazy, bro. I'm interested now. I have to figure out how I could do this, but I would like to see if I could become my own nation. One man nation. Maybe I get 7 of us and we become a 7-nation army.
Yeah, whatever. The thing is that when you start to really research all this, you're already a part of a whole bunch of nations. You've got all your comedian friends and all your comedian connections.
Yeah. I
That's
can't
a
get
nation.
them not to wear masks. How am I going to get them to
can you imagine trying to explain this to them?
Yeah, hey, dude, trust me on this.
Case law here.
Trust me on this. Trust me.
I'm just saying, I feel like my presentation's pretty fucking solid, bro. It's the only thing that's going to stop someone from understanding what I'm talking about is their own emotions. I mean, this is like you guys see this. This is not like Brandon's office rocker plugging shit in and fucking piecing this together with pieces of glue and shit. This is like I've worked my ass off on this, bro. This is like I could go to the Supreme Court with this.
Have you been challenged by the IRS on any of this?
The IRS won't even fucking call me back, bro. I'm trying to get shit from them. They won't even fucking talk to me.
Okay.
Seriously.
Interesting, dude. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation. BJ Williams, okay? One more time, tell them where they can find you.
onestupidfuck.com or myfaceisatchair.com if you prefer to not have the cursing. No problem.
Shouldn't that only be for the ladies?
Well, there's a picture on there that's definitely
you
for
gonna
the
prove
ladies.
it? Okay. You gonna prove
Have you
it?
been there? Yeah, it's
myfaceisatchair.com.
I visited. I love the photo. I have to say.
Let me see. What up? Okay.
Sam's gonna love the photo.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up myself. I have the only.
My face is a chair.
There it goes. Let's see. Oh no. Okay, that's gray. That is gray.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny about
either they
that?
love it or they don't love it.
I love that, blackface is this horrible thing, except for if you're a guy trying to make fun of Middle Easterns, right? And you could just make them look like big retards. It's hilarious. That's my problem with political correctness. Is there's so much fine print. If you really cared, Sacha Baron Cohen should never be able to show his face again. Anyways, great show.
Thanks,
click
guys.
the links below.
Thanks, guys.
Great
Thank you so
time.
much for having me on. I want to come see you at a show one of these days, Sam.
Please do, dude. Please do. So real quick, again, go to SamTripoli.com. All my events and guys, t-shirts there. Every way to support Rockfin's there. You go to rockfin.com. I'm giving out 3 or 4 different, I'm giving up to 5 shows a week on Rockfin. I'm across all my different channels. You'll never get more bang for your buck than my Rockfin experience.
The rewinds. You
the
guys are missing
rewinds,
out.
everything. And now we're going to, and then you hear a little bit about our affiliate program coming up, and check out our these sneak preview, these highlights of some of my episodes are out. But again, go to ROKFIN.com for either tinfoil hat premium content, zero premium content, or Conspiracy Social Club premium content. Nobody gives you more for the amount of money you spend for premium content than me. Live feeds, interviews, breakdowns of old videos, all that. So enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
Steve and his brother and I walked outside, and up in the clouds, we heard this sound, and we saw this tremendously large object moving through the sky, and it was like a scene out of Independence Day when the ships are coming into the atmosphere and they're creating this kind of explosion type fire in the sky. We just saw this incredibly large object and froze, as anybody would, because we know what the hell was going on. And eventually it went out of sight, and nobody said a word. We just stood frozen, the 3 of us, on the front stoop of Steve's house. And about 30 seconds later, we heard the real recognizable sound of fighter jets going shoo, 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 shoo. That seemed to be chasing this object. And again, we just stood there in just disbelief for another few minutes. Nobody said a word. And then we all kind of looked at each other like, did we just see what we think we just saw? What was that? Eventually, 20 minutes later, we kind of wound down a little bit, went back to bed. And then you're still not really sleeping because you just experienced this bizarre experience. We looked in the papers and online the next few days, and there was nothing about it. That got me into researching more about UFOs. The siren or alarm had been from a nuclear power plant, which is about 9 miles away. And if you know anything about UFOs, there's a lot of sightings around nuclear energy, around volcanoes, around power plants. But yeah, Steve and I, great friends, teammates, and also witnessed whatever the hell it was. I don't know, but it was definitely unidentified. It was definitely flying. It was definitely a large object.
Bro, that is the best.
That's one of the best UFO stories I've ever heard.
Dude.
Yeah.
And it's even better that he has Gotham City jets on his thing. I love that, dude. Gotham City.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
As I was listening to him, I go, man, the media is so interesting. If you do not play ball with them, they paint you as a piece of crap. In reality, it's like, how many times have we seen these people that are somewhat seen as like little off-putting suddenly are like, when they retire, we start to realize more about they were just a little unique and they just didn't fit the mold.
So speaking of the media railroading, guys, I just wanted to talk about this outside of the news segment. So you brought up this before, this Russell Brand thing. So it makes me think maybe he was getting near the target on something, and this is they dropped the bomb on him here because.
Okay, so it's very interesting, this whole thing, because I have, like with most of the people that end up getting this, I end up hearing whispers way before that something's coming.
Okay.
And I'd heard this for a while. I had heard that Russell Brand had started this whole movement thing that he's doing to counter what's coming. I'd heard that. I'm just being honest with people, so I'm just going to say that. I'd heard that.
Oh, wait, to counter the allegations?
Yes.
Oh,
so I'd hear that. So I want to put that out. That I'd heard. Now, what if that's true? Let's just say, and I'm not saying it is, but let's just say it's true.
Yeah.
If that's true, his plan worked. Because this is the first time where I've seen people go, okay, let's pump the brakes before we go after and destroy someone else's life. Because there are people breaking down these texts that are kind of like what nails them to the cross, right? Yeah. They're taking these texts and they're reading it and they're going, oh, this is doctrine. Now, I still, within the open mic community of Los Angeles, is seen as a pariah because I defended Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
And all I said was, let's give him a moment to defend himself so that we can find out, if this is real, because you guys are really too quick to annihilate this dude.
Yeah, which is what everybody's default position used to be.
Used to be. So, with D'Elia, we saw, and it's like so funny how this is like consistently used. This is the thing that I always bring up, and they just ignore it. Is that the two girls that came out, they doctored the evidence. He proved it.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. And they said, oh, I know my truth.
Yeah. That's the answer of somebody who has no answers.
Right.
I know my truth.
And that's all I'm saying. It's like, dude, I have daughters, man. I mean, like, I want my daughters to be safe. But unfortunately, just like anything, there's opportunists out there. Okay? So we have this whole thing. And listen, man, I know you guys think I'm a crazy person. I'm some conservative conspiracy. I am against anyone doing anything against their will. I fight for it all the time. Like, people should have free will to do what they want to do. When someone, whether it's a man to a woman or a man to a man, or it's the government, make somebody do something they don't want to do, I'm against that. Okay? But I also think blindly believing everybody, when we've seen over and over again, these people aren't afraid to lie to see their name in things and all this stuff. So I say, I'm going to say the exact same thing I said during any of these other guys. Let's hear the evidence. Where's the evidence? When all these articles come out at the exact same moment, that sounds coordinated to me.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
cynical, though, what you said. I mean, if that is true, that is cynical. I mean, the idea that he would create an entire brand, pardon the pun, about just to sort of, what would you say, blunt the power of these accusations? I mean, what a drag that would be.
Hey guys, you guys know tinfoil hats for the people. We want people to live a better life and get stuff in positive vibrational stuff in their life. So we want to tell you about some of our affiliate programs real quick. We got Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver. If you're looking for precious metals, these are the best in the business, okay? I'm part of this Wise Wolf package program. I spend a certain amount of money every month and they send me precious metals and I love it. It's a great way to get ready for the financial collapse. We have AquaCure hydrogen brown gas. Listen, we've talked about before. If you want to look younger, it's a great way. Check it out. You click the banner. You use the promo code tinfoil hat. Our friends at Harley Ray candles and crystals. Go check it out. If you use Swarm 15, you'll get 15% off. They got candles. They have click on it real quick.
Sage.
Crystals. They got crystals. They got everything you might need. And all you gotta do is use the promo. Look at that one right there. I want to get that aqua blue. I should just ask them to send it to us. Aqua blue at $55 promo code Swarm 15, you get 15% off that. Very excited to be working with Tim James over at Chemical Free Body. That's right. Get 5% off all of his products, everything he's doing with the promo code tinfoil hat. I love his vitamins and nutrients. I take them all the time. They are the best, and it helps me get my body going. And if you're looking to lose weight, let's say you're a busy dad, busy mom out there, go check out Joel Staley. He's helped me lose weight. He's got a whole program to lose weight, get in shape, all that stuff. Just click the banner and use the promo code tinfoil hat, 3 words, and you can get in shape. It worked for me. It can work for you. Hope you guys enjoy these, and check out the highlights.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat.